Get ready to feel
the power.
That's Colin, Crandall, myself, Adam Roorda, here with another amazing episode of MMA Power Hour. We are on Season 11, Episode 12. For those of you who have not been listening to us for the last, how many years, Colin?
Almost 6.
6 years. For those of you who haven't been keeping up with us, we do have a huge backlog of all of our stuff on Fight TV and our Facebook and the Hannibal TV mixed in there. You can catch all three locations. Fight TV being FITE TV. We have a lot of backlog catalog there. And definitely hit up our social media up on the top of the screen. You'll see going across, and then it does have a call out on MMA Power Hour, but unfortunately I let that one go because we stopped doing we stopped doing our written news coverage, and just kind of fell by the wayside, and we lost the domain. Actually,
Just had hard enough time. You were doing so much stuff, and you were the captain of that the website and your
everything else. Yeah, things are crazy, and over at Lift Token, I'm actually a big part of Lift Token. You see me wearing the hat every week. If you're new, you're not privy to this, but I'm actually a blockchain architect outside of this, and actually I'm on a lot of podcasts all the time for that as well. So over at Lift Token, it's keeping me really busy. We are a sponsor of the show here of MMA Power Hour, so make sure to check out lifttoken.io. It's LITH token.io.
Absolutely, and I can honestly say Dr. Adam Roorda is the most knowledgeable MMA guy of any blockchain architect out there, I really believe. And if anyone disagrees, then go ahead and put your MMA.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to say I speak with a lot of guys that are actually they're not blockchain architects, but they could be. Really have knowledge in this space and have a big background in MMA, actual MMA profession. And actually, us being one of them, that's how I met Mr. Patrick Skinner. He's not technically a blockchain architect, but he could be probably in about 2 hours of training. He's that involved. So
I like that.
I don't know. He might actually one up me in a lot of areas. I think I just beat him to the punch with a certain technology that we have over there at Lift Token. We are going to be debuting it soon. It is shoplift.com. So all of you fighters looking to sell some of your gear autographed and do some cool stuff like that, hit me up. Because we can get you featured on our marketplace. I would love to work with some fighters. And for those of you that are legends that tune in for Colin and me for our friendships that we all have, would love to get you guys all involved. Just hit me up with a message on Facebook or email me, adam@lifttoken.io.
Absolutely. I believe in Lift Token. It's going to be taken off. Don't miss the bus or miss the train. And speaking of which, that old saying, a guy would say, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, so let me give you some medical advice now. You say, doesn't that somehow disqualify you from giving any medical advice? But in this bizarro world that we're in, this. Here's what I think, Adam. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if the Generation Z and maybe some younger millennials feel that if you play a doctor on TV, chances are you probably have a lot more knowledge than the average person when it comes to medical things. And the reality is that's not necessarily true. In fact, some of these guys are
I don't think kids these days are that stupid. Actually, they're really smart.
Maybe they're like the Rain Man smart. Because I think
they're smarter than you and I combined, man.
That could be it, but that
doesn't mean that they. Majority of the real young generation right now, people that are like the 13 to 20-year-olds, are actually the opposite of what you're talking about when you talk about the Gen Zers that are being
right.
But hey, whatever. It's
what to say. The younger generation, right down the crapper.
The older generations always say the same shit, Colin, and people that say that are ignorant of the reality that they are a lot smarter. True. They're going to build stuff a lot cooler than what we've ever imagined.
Yes, and as they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse, is it?
Nope.
No. So continue. On that note, Dr. Adam Roorda, man, oh man, can Hawaii get sticky, as Elvis would say. We have an amazing fight with the man, Tuivasa, not from Hawaii, but I believe he is a Pacific Islander.
Odds makers. Yeah, I think they got this one a little wild. I think this is more than a puncher's chance for Tuivasa. Him being a plus 400 underdog here. I'm going to throw $20 at it just for I think he can come in swinging and win this one.
I tell you what, Tai Tuivasa is going to be so excited if he wins this fight. The word is he's willing to do a shoey out of Brock Lesnar's shoe after Brock wrestled in the WWE for 6 hours straight.
I mean, I believe it because this is definitely the toughest.
This is a horrible thought. I'm sorry.
I know. He'll definitely be excited.
Yes.
Listen, I think Bam Bam's just a super legit fighter.
He is. He for a minute it looked like not, but in the last couple of years, he's come on, man. It's almost like,
I mean, look at his last fight. Let's be real. You see that right
Derek
there, right?
Lewis, man, just came in with that elbow, you know, and yeah, he's tough. I mean, you know what's interesting about this one? This is almost like this is like the boxer against the puncher, because you know, apply it to MMA. The former kickboxer Cyril Gane, who's also got a little bit of a ground game, is tall, he's long, and he's slick. He moves a lot. He doesn't get touched very often, and he's very tricky and a good kickboxer. Punches, kicks, strikes. His distance is amazing. Tuivasa is like the good old outback Australian dude, just coming in swinging. He never looks pretty. I mean, look at Gane. Gane looks like a Terminator. Tuivasa comes in looking like the average guy. You can say I'm in as good shape as him, or so you think. But he goes in there.
So you think until he starts rolling.
Until you go in there and compete, you know, and then you get smashed. But
I mean, some guys are just built that way. They have a lot more visceral fat, and it happens when you hit over 20, and some guys get hit at a young age with that visceral fat.
Yeah.
And you know, he does a good job at keeping it down as much as he can. You can tell his body is meant to be kind of that pear shape.
Yep.
So you know, some guys are meant to have the V shape, and other guys are meant to have a little bit of a wonky pear shape. That's actually most guys.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. For those,
that doesn't mean he's out of shape.
It's just his body type. Yeah,
it's his body type, and it takes him more to actually keep that under control. And for people to, I don't know, a lot of people will say that Terminator looking dude going up against a pear shaped looking dude is kind of like, oh, the Terminator dude's gonna win. Why? No,
not necessarily.
Yeah, and you're gonna see a lot of bodybuilders out there that can't do squat.
That is true, except maybe squats. How is speaking of which, how old is Gane? Is he like 33, 34? Can you check? Because Tuivasa's 29. I know he's younger.
And 32.
Gane's 32. Okay, so that's not a huge difference. And but it's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, Gane's a beast, so I'm not discounting him. I just think if I'm going to throw $20 at one that could have a nice return for me, this is one of those fights.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with it. If it is going to happen that way, I'm actually honestly not calling it that way. But if it is, and I think there's a good enough chance, I'm throwing it in there. I think it would probably happen in the second round. It might happen in the third with a knockout, and that's going to be the way it goes.
Although that's the main event, so that is 5 rounds.
I know, but I'm also okay. So third round is I'm thinking that, Colin, because I'm just looking at Tai Tuivasa's wins here, and when he usually takes it is in the first or second round.
Right, but he's also never usually been scheduled for 5 either. Or was he scheduled? No, that's not him. That's Gane. Yeah, I think this is actually Tuivasa's first 5-rounder, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. In the fight against Derek Lewis, was that scheduled for 5? Can you tell? I don't know if it's going to even tell us that, is it?
I can't tell.
Check and see if that was the main event. No,
that wasn't.
That was not. Okay, so that wasn't scheduled for 5 either. So I believe this is Tuivasa's first scheduled for 5 fight. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Tuivasa is going to have to conserve his energy. Gane can quickly get ahead of you on points. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, I think on paper, the way the odds makers look at it is Gane has a little bit more of experience with 5-round fights. He's taller. He's more technical. He's just going to keep picking them apart. And, you know, and that's why the odds are like that. But Tuivasa, if he catches him or if he can hurt him early, that always kind of changes the tide. If you can hurt your guy early and he's more technical and used to just chilling, kicking back, laying back and being slick, and you hurt him early, it can really change what he does and his reaction and like that. So that's what I think Ty needs to do, kind of, is almost go out there in berserker mode somewhat, or at least go out there throwing. And you know, but then again, a lot of guys in their first 5-rounder are really not wanting to burn that energy and get caught gassing out. But so it's gonna be interesting. But he's got a chance. Does Ty have a chance? He does. It'd be amazing. That'd be a great shoey. I think he has something in mind, and you know, we will have to see. But yeah. Gonna be interesting.
All right, let's hop into our first guest here. It's not showing that they're online, but we'll see what we can do to bring them in. We'll go ahead and see if we can get that Skype dance going. If we can.
Let's see it.
We'll see. Maybe. Crossing my fingers.
Let's see.
I can't Skype dance to this.
He did confirm about a half hour ago.
Okay. Tell him to hop online if you could.
We're trying to Skype you right now, brother. And of course, dictation doesn't work.
Yep, you're gonna have to type it out.
Yep.
Because he needs to be online. This is the fun of our show, boys and girls, ladies and gents, dogs and cats, and every other animal in between that watches this, and whatever you identify with. Non-binary peoples and trees.
Oh man, don't get me started on that.
Non-binary peoples and trees and.
How did we know? Yeah, we didn't realize years ago that you could be a human being, could be a scarecrow, and another human being could be a dolphin, and you can be binary. You could be.
I mean, the second Facebook threw something up, I kind of. I mean, I identify as bionic, so.
I like that. That's important. Now you can identify as whatever you want. You know, you can walk in there being a ostrich. Just bury your head in the sand and tell people they must address you as Mr. Ostrich or Miss Ostrich, and then you're good to go in today's bizarro world where everything you thought was reality isn't, and everything you feared one day could be reality is, sadly. But anyway, so let's see. What you want to try? Why don't we try him one more time?
It's not going to do anything because he's not online.
All right, let me see.
So that's that.
Okay, so.
And that was the right.
Yeah, it was the last one we.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so I sent a text and no response so far.
He's probably busy wrapping up training right now.
Yeah,
that does happen.
Let me
on Tuesday night.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
expect that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a call though. I'm gonna give him a call. Here we go. Live telephone call.
Live telephone.
See what we can do. Live television and telephone. Here we go. Rock and roll.
Sick 'em.
Yep. Exactly.
Hope y'all can hear that ringing in the background.
Does it? Are you able to hear it? Right. See here. And
ring. I can hear it. I don't know if they can. Ring. Oop. Voicemail.
Yep.
Please leave a message for.
Okay.
That's always exciting. So we've got some other exciting fights on this card we can go over in the meantime while we're waiting for him. He'll probably pop in.
Yeah, I'm sure
any minute. But all right. So let's go to that card. Let's pull it up.
Let's do it. Go to the co-main event since we're
Whittaker and Vettori is going to be a bang.
Very, very good fight. Very, very, very good fight. Both of them have fought Israel Adesanya twice. They both did pretty well. How old is Whittaker now? 30. They're almost the same age. Whittaker's 30, I think.
He's
31. And Vettori's not even 30 yet, or is he? Maybe
28.
28, yeah. Both young guys. So you're on Vettori here, right? Vettori had a good win over Costa. Lost to Izzy for the second time. And before that beat Kevin Holland, Jack Hermanson, Carl Roberson. Tough dudes, still really young. And training with a great team over there with Beneil Dariush and Giga Chikadze over at Kings. So many tough guys there under the tutelage of Coach Rafael Cordero, formerly of Shootabox. And tough guy originally from Italy, one of the few Italian fighters that is represented in the UFC, against former middleweight champion Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker. And Whittaker is coming off of a very impressive an impressive performance over with Izzy. He lost the fight.
I was wondering what you were about to say there.
That was a close fight. I thought that was really close. I think there were some people that felt Whittaker won that fight. I remember thinking that could have gone either way. That was a very close fight. Go to view play-by-play. Let's see. I think Sherdog actually had it. I think one of the Sherdog judges may have had it for Whittaker. Let's go all the way down. I think it's going to be the very bottom of the play-by-play. All right, and very bottom, all the way. Got to scroll down about 1,000 paragraphs because it was the last fight. Yeah. Okay. Oh, back up. Okay. So round one, Sherdog had it. Okay, on the bottom, Sherdog had it Adesanya. I think I remember that correctly.
Yep, 10-9.
10-9. Round two, one of the Sherdog judges had it Whittaker. I think I had Whittaker. The other two had Adesanya. Okay, round three, two judges had it Whittaker, and one had it Adesanya. I think I had it for Whittaker there. Round four, all the judges had it for Whittaker.
That was clearly Whittaker.
Whittaker, yep. And then round five, all the judges had it for. Yeah, I think
one judge in.
So the overall
second. No,
but it'll show on the bottom. It'll show the cumulative in the very bottom. So go below round. Okay, sorry. So the total Sherdog judges, two of the judges had it Whittaker winning the fight. Wow, one of them had it 49-46 Whittaker. You know, it's been a while now. I do think I was leaning Whittaker in winning that fight.
You were. I was too.
But it was given to Adesanya. The 2 out of 3 Sherdog judges, they're usually calling it pretty good. Yeah, that was a really close fight. So Whittaker is going to want to get back on the winning track. I just think he's just going to be too good. It's an interesting battle of guys that are pretty darn balanced. They're both good strikers. I'd say Whittaker is a 9 out of 10 in the striking department. Vettori is like an 8 out of 10. Yeah. On wrestling, I'd say Whittaker's like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10, and Vettori's like an 8.5 out of 10 maybe. Jiu-jitsu, they're probably pretty close. I just think that Vettori at 28 is just getting into his prime, and Whittaker at 31 is like right in the heart of his prime. And I think Whittaker is going to be too good. What are the odds in that fight? Because I like Vettori, but I think Whittaker's just too good. He looks so good against Adesanya. I mean, and essentially beat him by most. Yeah, okay, and that makes sense. So about 2-1, 2.5-1, Whittaker. Yeah,
I would put it a little closer, but yeah, I agree with it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think Whittaker is going to take that. I just think he's too good right now. But I tell you what, Vettori really wants to get back on the winning record. He did beat on the winning track. He beat Costa, but he wants to continue with that. See, should we bother to try again with D-Rod? Because I know he just
not gonna do anything. He's not online, so it doesn't do any good.
There's no way we
every
can
time
see
you ask me, like if they're not online and I tell you they need to be online.
Right, but there's no way we can see if there's another Skype.
You're funny. No, there's one Skype for him.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because he confirmed just an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we're set for 6:10, and it's 6:20 right now. All respect to him. I'm never hating these fighters, and it's not because I'm afraid of fighters, and the fighters are not going to go try to beat your ass for being mad at them. At least no one that I've heard of. But it is what it is. I mean, there's no money involved for those of you watching that. And fighters are out of kindness of their heart coming on most of these shows. I think even the bigger ones, there's not money. I think only if you're a famous actor and you agree to go on someone's podcast or something are you paid money. I
wouldn't say that. Some of the biggest names.
Yeah, it's possible. Only. But for the most part, a lot of fighters are doing interviews in the MMA world for no money. And in that case,
some will throw them out when they're required, but that's about it. And when they're not required, I believe per performance, most of them start at about 30,000, and they consider an interview a performance.
Right. And so the bottom line is fighters sometimes have to make other stuff happen. Emergencies do come up. A lot of these guys that are in their late 20s and 30s have kids, and something goes on with their kid, and but Daniel's been super reliable. Like we've had D-Rod on several times before, and he always makes it.
We've had him on 3 times. I think literally 3 times.
Yeah, three or four. It's but I would hope he'll jump in here. No, I'm just hopeful. I'm not trying to doubt what you're saying. I'm just dismayed. You know what I mean? Because it was an hour and a half ago we confirmed. 2 hours ago. We confirmed first a week ago, and then last night, and then today. So, I just in case people think that we're randomly saying so.
I've had him on 4 times.
Yeah, I believe it.
We've had him on 4. Today would be the 5th, so that would put him up there with one of the most frequent guests.
He's reliable. Okay, I'm going to try to call him again here.
Let's see if it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, might as well.
Yeah, why not? I just, we're all.
You can always put it on speakerphone too.
Could we? Have we had?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
No, you're not putting it on speakerphone.
No, it wouldn't work. Or would it? I don't know.
Of course it would. I'm telling you to put it on speakerphone.
Oh, you are? Oh, cool. Oh, you mean right now for the call?
That way everybody can hear the rings.
I thought you meant for the interview. No, the interview we can't.
Please leave your message for...
No.
Please leave your message for... No, that doesn't work out so well.
No. Anyway, okay, continuing down. So we both got Robert Whittaker over Marvin. It will be a good fight, though. Vettori's tough. Very, very tough. We have any comments? Anyone saying hello?
No, nobody's talking today.
Nobody's talking yet. They're waiting for a result. Okay.
They also might be hitting up our Facebook and not the Hannibal Hannibal TV on YouTube right now, and our apologies right now. Facebook is kind of being wonky with us on the accounts. I'm not sure if it's playing over there or not. If it is, drop a line for us from Facebook.
Exactly. And if it isn't, do a line for us somewhere. No, I'm never going to recommend you do a line. Well, if you're doing them already. No. Anyway, don't listen to me.
We have pre-workout now.
Yeah,
why do you do a line when you have pre-workout?
There we go. That's only as important when you do the pre-workout. Okay, did Chirico, the third? Wow, the co-main is Alessio Di Chirico.
No, I don't think so. Let's go back here, and actually, it is.
It is, yeah. No, it is. This is not a big name card.
No, it's not.
But anyway, so Alessio Di Chirico, I just, you know what I mean? I just don't know that I want to. I mean, and then Makdessi and here's what let's do. Chirico Kopylov is an interesting fight. I'm leaning Kopylov. Makdessi and Haqparast, leaning Haqparast. He's over there at Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Gomez and Aarons. I don't even know those guys. Here's a good fight there. There's a good fight. Let's take a look at that and let's actually see what the odds are.
I don't know if you saw my mouse hanging out over him for the last 2 minutes.
So what happened was hanging out?
My mouse was hanging out over that one, trying to point that one out, saying, we got a decent one on here.
Yeah, without a doubt. So the prospect, Nathaniel Wood, just won a couple weeks ago over in England, didn't he? Or was he not on that English card?
Yeah, July 23rd.
Yes, he was. Yeah, July 23rd. So this is a 5-week turnaround. And he's a tough guy. Was over in England where he's from. Tough guy.
What was his fight turnaround before that?
Before that, I don't know where that one, but
almost a year and a half.
That was a year and a half. Interesting. So his comeback fight, he looked really good. He's young. He's only 28, I think, isn't he? Nathaniel Wood.
Yeah. 29,
and isn't he kind of a shorter fighter?
He just turned 29,
right? He's 5'6", tough guy, tough British wrestler. Charles Jourdain, Air Jourdain. How original is that? But a cool dude out of Canada, taller fighter by 3 inches. How old is he? He's also in his late 20s, isn't he? 26, even younger. He's a tough guy. It's weird how it seems like the media and odds makers are high on Jourdain, then they're low, then they're high, then they're low. All right, let's see why. Kitty is blocking some of the results, unfortunately, for me to see, but I think I saw when you did that. Okay, he came off a loss, very close against Shane Burgos. I think he won that fight, but that was a fight of the night. I think they got bonuses, and that was July 16th also. So he fought a week earlier than Nathaniel Wood. So he got a guy who fought 5 weeks ago against a guy who fought 6 weeks ago. Really good fight. Before that, he beat Groovy Lando Venata, Andre Ewell, lost to Julian Erosa when Erosa was on this really killing streak. This is a really good fight. What do the odds maker have? I bet they have it Wood minus 200 or something. Let's take a look. I bet they have not even. No, they've got Jourdain minus 140. Wow, this is wrestling, except for when you get kicked in the head by Leon Edwards. Other than that, wrestling has been dominating a lot this year.
Right.
And Wood is the better wrestler. I like Jourdain, though. I didn't think he'd be favored. It's so hard to say, but they both fought so recently. And Wood, I don't. Is Wood based in England still, or is he training? He is. Okay, I mean he is British, but where does it show that he trains? The school
Academy of Pro Star.
Pro Star MMA. Don't even know what that is, and also it's probably not right because they're always screwing it up. Tapology. Can you look online for Nathaniel Wood, tapology.com? Because they seem to be doing a little bit better showing the actual.
I don't know about that.
Gyms.
They're about the same as far as the gyms, and that's kind of. I think that's where they're pulling it from usually.
I don't think always. Let's see. Where does that show he's training out of?
Details. So he is affiliated with Top Team Great Britain.
Top Team Great Britain.
Yeah, Great Britain Top Team.
I don't even know what that is either. So. It's different than that Sherdog had. Who knows? Anyway, Great Britain Top Team. There you go. So yeah, this is gonna be a good fight. I don't know. I like both guys. I kind of feel like Nathaniel Wood should be favored, and he's the dog. He's short. I think he's just got like the T-Rex arms, which are not a great feature, but he's a better wrestler. I'm kind of leaning Wood. I'm not going to make that an official pick yet, but I think that that it's going to be a really good fight, though. Should be a fun fight, and I think the winner is going to be really on a good track to be getting up there close to the top 15. Mm-hmm. I think they may both be in the top 20 now. Maybe not. The winner's going to be in other words. I think the winner of that fight may jump 4 or 5 spots.
Right.
And it's going to be a really good thing for them. Okay. So that one, do you have any opinion, or do you agree it's just close fight and could?
I'm going to go with Jourdain on that one.
Yeah, you could be right.
I think Nathaniel Wood coming off this quick turnaround is going to be a lot for him.
I mean, it's 5 weeks for him, but it's 6 weeks for Jourdain.
Yeah, but Jourdain has a little more recent history right before that, though. And that tells me that the frequency that he fights.
I see. You're right. The other guy had been a year off, and then Jourdain's younger, although it's just 3 years.
Younger, but his distance between fights is 6 weeks, 12 weeks.
Yeah, you're right.
So I mean, he's kind of used to it, whereas Nathaniel Wood is not. So I actually agree with the odds makers on this because of that.
And you know what's funny? This is in France. I just realized that.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I'm feeling Wood even stronger because England is a lot closer to France than the U.S. is, and or Canada, and Jourdain trains out of Canada, where does it say Jourdain's training out of? Academy.
Yeah, it says
Pro Star.
Yeah.
Star, I don't know what that is. Anyway, but so you got jet lag. Jet lag is going to
be 2 guys at gyms that nobody's ever heard of.
No one's ever heard of. Exactly. Might as well be training with us. No, I'm not going to say that. But I think that the jet lag is going to be.
You want to come train with me? I'll train.
We'll do it. We'll call it Colin Adams Star Gym. Or
I'm not going to get you very in shape. I can tell you that.
But you'll have fun. We'll crack you up, and we'll talk fights a lot.
We'll say you're at talk fights. So come on over, hang out with us,
join us,
do the same thing that we do on the show.
MMA Power Star Gym. Absolutely, we'll turn you into the next Hamzat. Maybe might be maybe not quite that.
I could do it. I could turn somebody into Hamzat.
You could.
Here's the thing, Colin. Teachers, coaches can't.
No.
That's why they teach.
That's it. Did you see that video where they were talking about? Someone was talking to DC and about bringing over a wrestler for their team, and they said we brought over Sanderson, and they said Sanderson. I said, well, no, his brother. But I guess that's something, right?
Yeah.
But both brothers actually were okay. What, Cody Sanderson and I forget the other one, and Cole and Cody Sanderson. How much better was Cale than those two, do you think?
Much
better.
I mean, Cale, in my opinion, is the greatest. He's the GOAT.
You know what matchup I saw that I heard? I think it was Chael Sonnen was mentioning it. If you want to see a really interesting matchup, it was in the year 2000. Cale was only 21, and he competed against a former national champion who was 28 years old, Les Gutches. And Gutches beat him in it was a close match, but Gutches beat Sanderson. And Gutches, I think, was really underrated in the world of wrestling. I remember the late Jeff Blatnick used to mention him a lot because I think he had beaten several guys or a few guys who had come in and competed in the UFC. But still, Cale Sanderson's amazing, and his brothers are pretty good. It's what can you say? All respect to them.
Yeah, but there's you try to compare them to Kale. It's just a whole
Different.
It's a whole different beast. Same
Yep.
same breed of people, but different levels to that breed.
Absolutely true.
I mean, it's just like stud horses with racetracks, man. You can breed those horses in the lineage, and you'll have high quality over and over again, but it doesn't mean they're all getting that Kentucky Derby win.
Exactly. You can say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, can you?
No.
That's not exactly what we're saying, but similar.
Unfortunately, Kale's not much of an MMA guy, so.
No, that was it. I remember when they were hoping to bring over Alexander Karelin, the Russian Greco-Roman champ, and he, I think, did one exhibition. The guy who beat him in his last Olympics, Rulon Gardner, actually fought in Pride a couple of times. You know what's interesting about Rulon Gardner? He fought in Pride, I think, twice, and he won a couple of grueling matches. Then he went on The Biggest Loser because he had got up to 400 pounds, and he dropped out. And the weirdest thing is, one of the things I learned in that Biggest Loser was a lot of people were cutting weight, were dehydrating to make sure that they kept winning the rounds by losing the most weight. And you said to yourself, with the discipline that Rulon Gardner probably had, being able to cut weight, how come he wouldn't have easily have won against some regular fatties? But
Wait, you put some regular fatties. I mean,
but someone made him mad. I remember I was watching that with my girl for like 12 years ago. Something made him mad, and he dropped out. And then he got caught in the ocean and it got frostbite and had 2 or 3 of his toes cut off.
I mean, hey.
It's an unusual story. For
The show, they probably pushed him out more.
They
than
probably
anything.
would.
It was more of an emotional, psychological thing than anything else. They
That's
probably pushed him out
was.
because he was probably going to win. Like, sure.
That's probably
thing.
what it is. Maybe Jillian Michaels was mentally abusing him or something like that.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, that's hey.
You never know. She was tough on these competitors. That's for sure. You got to lose that weight. Anyway,
more of the producers and directors behind the scenes.
That is true.
Don't be punching or clapping.
That's right. We don't want to do that. That blares everyone's ears off. Yeah, sorry for everyone's ears. Oh man. Well, man. Oh man.
It is sticky here today. So
yeah, you called it.
I'm waiting for you to finish it here, Colin. Man, oh man.
Yeah, I learned that from Elvis in the documentary.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah,
man, oh man.
Yeah. But what can you say? Okay, well.
We have a wildfire update popping up on my computer, and as well as a heat wave here in Los Angeles. So those of you who don't know, we are having a little bit of a heat wave.
We're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave.
It's not that bad compared to what we're
Temperatures
used to.
rising.
It's only 92 degrees right now.
That it is. It's 92 degrees on this beautiful day in Los Angeles.
That's Fahrenheit for those of you internationally watching right now.
That's right. Man, well, look at this. The weather report. Where's our sexy girl, though? You got to have a sexy girl dressed.
Well, I don't know. So we have a couple fires right around us right now, which is kind of cool.
Wildfires are taking over like crazy. You know what I like when they say that?
It's that time of year.
Yeah. You know when they say that there's this climate change, and they say this climate change, you will notice that during the summer it will be hot. Wow, what an epiphany that is. During the summer, it will be hot. And that is the argument for the climate change obsessed, which goes right down here, right into the garbage.
You think so?
I think so. Because, summer is hot. But that's okay.
I'm trying to see how far away we are.
Yeah, here's what I'll say. If your life is so good that above crime skyrocketing, above inflation skyrocketing, above gas prices still being high, and it being hard to survive, if that and the borders and problems with other countries, if you're more worried about climate change than any of those things, then I have 2 answers for you. One, your life must be really easy. You got a lot of money and you're doing great. And 2, you are an idiot. So pick one, or you might even be both. But anyway, God bless you. But Climate change is last when it comes to things important
That's
in this
not
country
true,
or this
man.
world. Okay,
That's not
okay.
true
If that's not
whatsoever.
true, I'll say second to last. I'll give you that.
No, it's not
I'll give
true
you- well,
whatsoever.
yeah,
That's
well.
not true whatsoever.
Well, it depends who it is.
And I'm not an
but-
idiot, man. We
Okay.
can put it on paper.
But your life
See
is
who's
good.
got the higher IQ and everything. Let's
Well,
do
but
it.
your life might be doing good then. That's the other option. You might fall into that category, is that your life is going well enough that the other stuff doesn't matter to you. But anyway, that's your opinion. We can have
it matters to me that we've got Brandon here sitting here screwing everything up, throwing all
That is true.
Money machine go.
That is true.
That's
You're
not
right.
how it works, guys.
No. Well, like I was saying, no, exactly. Like I'm saying, Brandon is doing all this other crap and dumping the country, flushing it down the toilet, and then half the people are saying nothing's wrong about climate change. I promise, nothing's wrong about climate change. You know, and it's like, yeah.
I know climate change doesn't cause the other issues. Climate change is a huge problem, but making the money printing machine go all day, that's not the answer.
Way more. There's way bigger problems. We have way larger.
Everybody switch on over to cryptocurrency. The Fed and everybody's freaking out right now. Time to hedge your bets against inflation. Right now is the time when it actually starts working. They've been saying it's pegged to the markets. Don't do that anymore.
No, don't tie yourself to a. I mean,
It's time to get away from fiat and the control of centralized powers that be that are sitting there doing the crazy stuff. And we will get back to MMA.
Yes,
here.
exactly. So back on this card, or is anyone?
You guys love this wild, crazy
this
stuff.
This is some great stuff here. This is some weird, wacky stuff. As old late night talk.
We got some
shows say.
people jumping in saying hi now. We've got WLJJ movie reviews saying hi. How's it going?
There you go. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing good.
Brother, sister, who I mean, from the
whoever
name,
you are.
probably brother. Michael McLennan. I
That's
feel
it.
the power. Good. I'm glad you feel the power, especially with us going off on that little money making,
Feel it, man.
money printing machine.
Exactly.
Going burr.
That's it. You know, and ready to. We're glad to see all you guys. We appreciate you being here. Where are we as far as?
Wouldn't it be nice if we literally had a legitimate money printer
That would
right
be-
here,
oh,
right
man.
now, just sitting there going?
Money tree, man. We could just go give it away. You know, like some of those old.
I don't know
shows.
that I would do that.
No, you wouldn't want to do that.
Nah.
What if you could have all the money in the world, but you had to give 90% of it away? Wouldn't that be a good feeling, though? It would be.
No, that would be a horrible
It'd
feeling.
be a horrible feeling. Well, I think the giving. It's in the giving, brother. That's what it is. It's in the giving.
Is it?
I think so. Well,
I mean, there's things that you can do and give and use money to do all of the above. I think
that's
there's
true.
a certain amount of hoarding that doesn't need to be done, but I also, I'm a capitalist, dude.
That is true, and I agree with that 100%. As am I. But is hoarding of goods any good on the show Hoarders? Now, is there any positive
Supply and
aspect
demand.
of that? Doing what?
Supply and demand, but if you're talking about hoarding a bunch of garbage in your house, no.
No, good. That's what I was saying. I was gonna say I'm trying to find something good about that. Oh man, I'll tell you, life is fun and crazy. And anyway, but so it looks like we're gonna probably be missing our first segment.
100% going to be missing our first guest. We only have a couple minutes before we have to jump into our next one. So well, we're just going to kind of maintain. Now, there is another fight on this card, Colin. We might as well go over it.
Let's
while
take a
we're
look at
shooting
it.
The shit.
Let's see who we got.
And
Tell
we
me what.
have got, let me go back here. Okay, here it is. Here's one of them. Dustin Stolze.
Well, Stolze Fuss, I think that name means stinkfoot in English. No, it's sorry, Dustin. I don't mean that. This literally, don't hurt me if you see me in person, Dustin, please.
Dustin's like, no, that's what it means.
That's what it means, stinkfoot.
I will stick my foot up your ass.
That's what it means,
yeah, that's
right?
exactly what it means.
Yes, yes, it would. I would, yeah. But anyway, my good friend here, Dustin Stolze, is going up against Abu Sipi.
They just call him Abus.
Abu Sipian Megamedov. Oh, if you have Megamedov in your name, it's like a foregone conclusion that you win.
He's from Germany. He's
wait a second. How is he from Germany? It's supposed to be from Dagestan. What happened? Someone is lying here. I'm feeling very deceived right about now.
No,
This. I sound like an idiot.
So the reason I like this fight actually is because of Abus. I watched him a few times in PFL when you got me kickstarted on PFL a few years ago. About 5 years ago when we got started, 2017.
Right, he did get stopped. So he did get stopped about 3.5 years ago, but then he left. But here's the thing: he had a pretty good run there in PFL. Did get stopped by Lewis Taylor, and then did go back and fight in Europe, and did pretty good. And now they're bringing him to the UFC. So he's making his UFC debut against Mr. Stolze. How old is he? 31, I think. Mr. Magomedov.
Yeah, he's 31.
31, 6'2", 185. Mr. Stolze is 30. Let's see, Stolze is 30 years old, a year younger, but he's got several UFC fights, but they're not all wins, are they?
No, they're not all wins, but he does have a win under his belt. So I mean, listen, this is a good matchup, I think, for only being like a one win out of four, one in three in the UFC against first time UFC presence. I think that's a good fight, and I think it's going to be a pretty close matchup.
I think so too. What are the odds? I'm curious. It should be even. I think this fight, these odds.
I mean, it's probably going to go to a boost. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's a boost. About
almost 3-1.
Yeah. That's going to be exciting to watch him. Man, did you watch him in the PFL at all?
I may have. You know what?
You may have. So no.
I may not have recognized him when I saw him there. I watch the PFL usually when it's very late at night and my eyes are half closed.
This is one of the ones that I think I don't know. He's entertaining to me. I think he's a good fighter, and he's able to carry a fight. I do think this is going to be a pretty short one. I think they've got it right. A boost. I'm going to take a second round knockout.
Did you know? Yes. Did you know that Magomedov? He was originally obviously from the Russian Eastern Bloc area, and he went to Germany to train fighting and to be a chef, where he could learn how to make the best German chocolate cake of anybody. And now
you're so full of shit.
That is true. I was going to say, now that he's over there in Germany, fighting is taking up so much of his time, he's not learning how to make the German chocolate cake, and his mother is very angry from what I've heard.
I had the best German chocolate cake recently.
Really? Where do you get it? Where do you get it? Somewhere good?
Not here.
No, it definitely isn't good.
I'll tell you.
Did your relatives brought it over from Germany with the Papa Bente, right?
No, I should have though. I should have had them bring out the German chocolate. No,
can they bring? It's really good. But you know what? The Swiss. I've had that Swiss chocolate.
Oh, so have I. I dated a girl from Switzerland once.
Really good.
Yeah,
man. Oh man.
Once upon a time, I dated a girl from Switzerland. She would be traveling back, and she'd come back bags full of the Swiss chocolate, and I'd be sitting there eating it for days, and I'd go into a diabetic coma, and I would pop out and I'd be like, hey, do we have some more? And I would eat it until I'd go back into a coma.
Without a doubt,
almost literally.
Some of that Bavarian cream pie as well with that, and can't beat it. But anyway,
I'm not going to talk about those cream pies.
No, definitely. But we won't go there. But we got Gane versus Tuivasa with the Eiffel Tower in the background. Now this is a hometown
this is
fight.
Getting worse.
Yes. No. Exactly. Oh my goodness. What could that be? There's no symbolism. No symbolism there. But the hometown kid, the hometown guy, is Cyril Gane from France. And so they're going to be really behind Gane over there. He is really tricky. And wait a second. Go down a little bit. Are they saying something? Robert Whittaker ponders 205. Okay, but that's not for that fight. Let's jump ahead for the following week. We were going to talk to D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. Actually, it's time now for a second guest. So
it is right now, and let's give him a call.
There's no way we could have 2 out of 2 not show up.
No, this one's online.
Okay, cool.
Skype dance. There he is.
Excellent. Hey, Puna, can you hear me? Can you hear us, brother?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you just fine.
Okay, brother, excellent. All we want you to do, if you wouldn't mind, is hitting that video button below, and then we'll have video. Hope you're prepared for that, if that's okay. And then good. As long as you see yourself in there, you're good to go. And we'll have a split screen and alternating things. Everything will look good. We'll show you afterwards. So let me give you an introduction. We do it here formally. First time on our show, joining many prominent UFC fighters, champions, top 5, top 10 fighters. And that's somewhere that I think this next guest is going to go. The man out of Hawaii from fighting in the UFC in the middleweight division. This guy is amazing. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Punahele Soriano. Welcome to the show, Puna.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
My pleasure. So I'll tell you what, I was at your first UFC fight in the press section. And I've been a combat sports guy for a long time. I was never a professional fighter, but I started judo really briefly when I was 8. I started karate 10 years later. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 10 years after that, and then Muay Thai like 10 years after that. So even though I was never really a master in anything, I always loved combat sports, and I kind of really became a big fan and started trying to learn about it when I was really young. And I remember looking at kind of physical descriptions of people that look like good fighters. And when I saw you there, I said, this guy looks like a fighter. And it was funny, man, because I can remember back, I had never seen you before, and I saw you up there, and I said, man, this guy looks like he could be in the book of a fighter. You know, you got that square jaw, your head looks like, you know, you're a strong guy. And I just said, I just got a feeling this dude is tough. And then you won that first fight, and I was like, hey, I'm right, you know? And so one of the things I really like about you, Puna, is that you're a strong guy. And I think a lot of people don't realize how important that is in fighting. Anyone that's in there is tough, but I think that the guys that go far are really physically strong people. Like, you know, I don't see anyone like blasting you out of there in a fight. Some guys go in there and they win some fights and they get knocked out in a couple rounds in other fights and this and that. And it just, you know, I have a feeling if anyone's going in there to fight you, no matter how good they are, you know, they better pack a lunch. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I hope so, man. You know, honestly, as a fighter, you can always like only hope so.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put it forward every time, you know, and I guess I don't know, like you don't really know you can take what you can take until you take what you can take. So
Right.
like I'm still finding out too what else I can take. I still feel tough. Like I feel super tough. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I'm learning how much more I can take. I feel like I'm still way more durable than like I even know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're 29 now, right?
Yes, sir.
And at your weight class, that's like just starting your prime. You're like just starting your prime, and you got a great attitude. You got that Hawaiian fighting spirit, and you know, people, you know, before you from Max Holloway, you know, before that BJ Penn. I'll even go before that, the Inoue brothers. You know, you got Ray Cooper the third over the PFL, right? And so there's a great tradition of really good Hawaiian fighters. And tell us about where you kind of jumped in to fighting. Were you ever connected with any of those guys, or were you ever a fan of any of those guys coming up?
I mean, funny story. Ray Cooper is actually a year younger than me. We actually wrestled in high school.
Nice.
Yeah, he ended up beating me by a takedown, but no, it was a good match. I guess he started fighting right away after high school, and I was always kind of a fan of him, kind of like followed along. But as far as other Hawaii guys, I'm a fan of everyone. You know, if you're from Hawaii and you're putting it out there, I'm a fan of you. But no, I just jumped in the game after college. Danny again invited me to the gym, and I just started training, and I felt like it felt kind of funny. Like the families in Hawaii are so like prominent, I guess. Like you know who the fighting families are in Hawaii, and it feels just kind of strange to like kind of be the new guy in there at a certain point, you know.
I can imagine. And Ray Cooper, with the success he's had, I'm sure that hasn't surprised you.
Yeah. No surprise for me at all. Like, if there's one thing I've noticed about him since high school is like he's really good at overcoming adversity. Like anytime he'd get beat, he'd always end up avenging his wins. And like kind of the same thing looks like in PFL. So I'm super happy for him.
Absolutely. And I like that you guys are adding the wrestling, because early on the Hawaiian fighters didn't really have the wrestling. Like BJ Penn had some wrestling, but he was a prominent BJJ guy. So he kind of would use his wrestling defense mostly.
Right.
He wasn't an expert in taking people down. And before then, the Inoue brothers didn't really have much wrestling. They were also grapplers, but really good ones.
Yeah.
You know, I remember the first UFC fight way back in the 90s that had Enson Inoue, and he came up against the Iowa wrestler Royce Alger. Did you ever see that fight?
No, it sounds super familiar though. Like I know who Ensign is for sure.
Yeah, you should check it out. It was back in those days when no one knew who was going to be fighting on a card. You know, they had like the tournament, right? But they also had like some kind of added fights. And Alger was a Dan Gable wrestler out of Iowa. And he was really supposed to be the new guy, just a little bit smaller, being that they were bringing in like light heavyweights. And he was there. They brought in Enson Inoue. He had Egan Inoue, his brother, and a bunch of other Hawaiians. And the late Jeff Blatnick, the Greco-Roman wrestling gold medalist, was doing the commentary. And it was looking pretty good for Alger. He kept getting kind of top position, but he was like not really able to do too much damage because Ensign was moving around a lot. And then Ensign started to go for an armbar, and they said, and Jeff Blatnick was like, well, I think there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And he goes, oh, it looks like Alger's in trouble. Up. He's tapping out. And he just caught him with an armbar from the bottom. It was amazing. And you saw Egan Inoue on the top of the cage just throwing his fist out there yelling. It was a really good moment. If you haven't seen that, you should see that, because that was, I think, the first big moment from Hawaiians in the UFC with a huge win. And then I think a couple years later, Enson Inoue caught Randy Couture with the armbar from the guard as well. And I think it was in a Japan Valley Tudo fight that I think he had his some kind of bulldog or something run around the ring. So a lot of amazing Hawaiian fighters. So definitely you've got a really good attitude, just like a lot of people in Hawaii. You know, you're laid back, friendly guy. It's kind of interesting how the easygoing, friendliness of the Hawaiian people kind of somehow can kind of change into this really tough aggression in the cage. Is that something that was always kind of there for you, maybe from wrestling, where you can kind of separate being easygoing and friendly, or do you still feel easygoing and friendly even when you're in there in an MMA fight?
It's hard to say. Like, anytime I competed, like I always competed to the best of my ability. Like I had that about me where I could always compete at my best or my hardest. But in my early stages, I was like real goofy, and I guess you could say I was still like pretty playful and like having fun and whatnot. But yeah, I guess like I think I've always had it in, because the more I look back at it, anytime like I'd face like real tough adversity, I'd only get better like at that moment. And I would just meet it head on, and I would never back down from it. And like I was still a goofy kid, and I had no clue how or why I could do it, but my body would just like act for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're coming off a great win over Lungi Bula, and I think you may have been the underdog in that fight, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not. It was close odds, I think. But I remember some people doubted you in that fight, and you came through looking really impressive. Did you feel some pressure on you in that fight, because you had some really good performances, and you had one that wasn't as good as your other performances? And so were you feeling kind of really, really how important it was to win this last fight?
Leading up to the fight, yeah, 100%. Every single day, that's all I could think about.
Right.
Thinking about proving everyone that's doubting me wrong, thinking about my job security, like thinking about rent money if I lose and stuff. But once fight week came, I was supremely confident, and I just knew in my head there was nothing that could stop me. I was just super, super, super confident. And I really don't know where it came from. It just fight week, I was ready. I was just ready to go, extremely ready.
Absolutely. You looked really good. Where do you train, and who are some of the guys that helped you for that last camp?
I'm training at Extreme Couture, and one of my main training partners was Chris Curtis. He was kind of the perfect body for me. Um, I just kind of fought him for a few times, and it was like the perfect look.
Absolutely. A lot of great guys over at Extreme Couture, and it's I like to see that, because I know that about 15 years ago, they were really like one of the best teams. Everyone was going over there, and then for about, I think, 6 or 7 years, almost like the first decade of the 2000s, it kind of slowed down a little bit, and everyone was kind of finding these other schools. And now there's like a lot of people that are kind of coming back through there. Are there any people that you know that you train with normally, other than Chris Curtis, who's an amazing fighter, that you can throw out there that have helped you, or that you know that you find are really good people to work with?
Oh, for sure. I mean, honestly, that's like a tough question, because out of all the pros there, I kind of like bounce around with everyone from Dan Ige, who fights at 45, to sometimes Francis, you know. But everyone there is a great partner. Everyone there is there to work, and everyone is there to make each other better. And I just find value in working with everyone from top to bottom of the list.
Absolutely. And Francis, that's definitely a big body to work with. It's so interesting to see what's going to happen with him, man. And I know Francis is, I think, got to be around 34, 35 now, isn't he? Something like that. So
Something
like that. So he's not old, but he's definitely at a point where he wants to have the big fights. Where do you see Francis showing up next? Do you think we're going to see that fight with the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury? Or do you think we're going to see Francis back in the cage in MMA?
I'm not sure, but I think it's whatever Francis wants. You know, he's the baddest man on the planet, the heavyweight champ. So I feel like the decision is his. Who's gonna tell him otherwise? You know, he's
Yes.
he's a giant dude.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, do you have anything signed yet, or is there anything in the works? I know you just fought about a month or so ago. Anything coming up, or how soon do you think you're ready to go again?
Shoot, I would have loved to have kind of taken a short time off and jumped back into things, but I ended up breaking my hand on the last punch of that fight. So it's been about 7 weeks now since the fight, and I guess at 8 weeks I can start making contact with it. So I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how long it's gonna take, but I just want to make sure it's 100%, so I don't re-break it or nothing, you know.
Absolutely. So maybe before the end of the year or something like that, I'm sure is your hope.
I hope so. If not December, at least early January or something, you know.
Absolutely. So middleweight division is a good division for you. I was just thinking about that before knowing we were going to speak on tonight's show, that you're kind of like right in there and kind of a medium size middleweight as far as height. You're not the tallest, but you're not the shortest guy. So you're like right in there. So many guys are looking at different weights now to change things up and like that. Have you ever looked at that? And if so, would it be welterweight or would it be light heavyweight, or are you determined that you're going to be a lifetime middleweight?
I mean, for me, unless they make a new weight class, I have to say at 85. I'm a little too big to make 70.
Yeah.
But I'm also like too small to fight any 205ers. I think I cut 4 pounds by the last day. I was like, by the final cut, you know. I think I cut 4 pounds, and it was super easy. It took about an hour, and I made weight.
Makes sense, and I agree with that. And I tell you what, speaking about other divisions, I'd like your opinion. I personally feel like if you look at boxing with like 20 divisions, and if you look at MMA with like 8 divisions, I'm not saying we need 20, but I really feel like why couldn't we have 12? And I will tell you this, about 5-6 years ago, at least I think California and Nevada, I could be wrong, but at least those two came out and said, okay, here's what we're okay with MMA. We're okay if MMA organizations want to take out 170 and want to stick in 165 and 175 and want to add 195 and then add 225. And I remember being really excited, thinking this is great. Maybe it's not going to just happen in a few weeks, but maybe in 3 or 6 months. And now here we are, like 5 or 6 years later. And I asked Dana about that at a press conference, I think 6 or 8 months ago, and he just said that there's just not enough. He doesn't have enough interest in any of that right now. Maybe adding a woman's atom weight, but he doesn't right now have interest. And it is what it is. I'm not asking you to say the opposite of what Dana is saying, but I know that most fighters definitely would be open to the idea. And if you could look at one, say either 175 or 195, I think both would be viable for you, or do you think 75 would be a tough call?
75 definitely would be tough. But I think I could make it. Like, I would have to do a few test runs. I wouldn't want to jump the gun and, lose my chin or lose my durability just because of the weight cut.
Right.
I feel like if it was 180, that would be perfect. Or if we did like a cage side weigh-in, you got to weigh in at 185 right before you walk in the octagon.
Right.
I could do that.
Right. Yeah, I know one.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate those answers. One championship is doing something like that. I don't know if you know that or if you know anyone that competes there, but they have a kind of an interesting setup. At first, when I started hearing about them, and we're credentialed with them as well as the UFC, PFL, and Bellator. But at first, when I first heard about one, I thought they were just changing the name of the division by one division up. I thought it was just saying if you're 135, you're a flyweight instead of 125, so on. But we found out that's not the case. What it is if you're going to fight, like for guys who are going to fight at middleweight, you've got to essentially weigh in at 170 or something a week or so before then. And then the most you can weigh is 185 on the day of the fight or the day before the fight. And so I guess you were mentioning something like that. If you had to weigh 185 the day before you fight, wait a second. No, that doesn't make sense. You're already doing that. Yeah, let me ask you this. If you had to weigh this is the first time I'm being confused. I'm sorry about this, Puna.
That's all right.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so what would it be? Okay, so you know what it is? Guys who are going to be able to fight at 185 somehow have to weigh in, I think, at 170 or something a week before, and then the most they can weigh is 185 or something like that. But you couldn't make 170, so that wouldn't make sense. Am I mistaken on that? And it's weird because normally I'm not confused, but it's been super hot here in Los Angeles lately, and I think my mind might be fried. What can you tell me what your understanding? Do you have an understanding of what they're doing over there? I think it's something like that, isn't it?
I'm not too sure. All I'm aware of is they have like a hydration test, and you basically need to be hydrated enough and be a certain weight percentage. But I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, I don't cut the most weight, but I'm never really hydrated, so I'd always fail those tests and would
That
have
makes
to
sense.
fight at
Yeah.
like a heavier weight. So
Right. Yeah.
it would suck for me.
I think I see what it is. I think I finally caught what it is. On the day of the fight, they would also weigh you, and you'd have to be no more than 185 on the day of the fight, like before you walked into the octagon. And I would guess you could do that, but normally you're going to probably be 15 pounds heavier than that, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily. I mean, honestly, that would probably be great for me. This past fight, I think when I stepped back on the scale, I was under 190 for sure. I might have been like 189, 188. I remember one time when I was on the regional scene, I weighed in at 186, and I weighed myself before the fight, sorry. and I was 185. Like somehow from me weighing in to me fighting, I lost a pound, and I was like eating everything and stuff.
Wow. Okay. Because yeah, your metabolism is good. But now, so then you're competing against some guys though that are walking in probably at 205 or even 210 on the day of the fight, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I think like I've never been outpowered. I've never thought anyone was too big. And after fighting Dolce, I think that one like really solidifies that because he's a giant guy and he didn't outpower me. He was super strong, but I didn't feel outpowered.
Yeah. That's one of the good things about you, man. You do, like I said, when I saw you in person, you do seem like a really physically strong, healthy guy, man. You really do, you know, and that's important. And, you know, I like that. So then that way you definitely can keep doing what you're doing. And then, like you said, if they put in 180, it'd be ideal. You know, speaking about 180, I don't know if you know it, but a week from Saturday, we got a 180 catchweight fight with Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez against Kevin Holland. And they're both really cool dudes. We've had D-Rod on the show many times, and we've had Kevin Holland on the show many times. What do you think, man? If I could get your opinion on some of these fights, I always like to get opinions, toward the end of the interview. And to me, this is interesting. My first thought is D-Rod's pretty much always been fighting at 170, whereas Kevin fought a lot at 85. Kevin's like 3 inches taller. So my thought was that it was probably Kevin that wanted this catchweight because it was kind of a short notice fight for both guys. But in your opinion, does that make sense? A, would you think it was probably Kevin that wanted it? And B, it would probably benefit Kevin more? Or could it possibly benefit D-Rod? Or would it be equal? What's your thought on that? And what's your thought on how that fight plays out?
I feel like in their scenario, it's not the most important thing. Just because they're about the same size anyway. Like meeting at a certain weight is the same regardless. I feel like I think it'll just be better for the fans. I think they're just gonna be able to perform better, and the fans are gonna be the ones that really enjoy their fight because they're probably gonna put on a banger, you know.
Yeah, that's what I think. And it's funny because Kevin's only been down at 170 twice, and he won both by stoppage. No one's ever stopped Daniel Rodriguez. So it's kind of an interesting fight because Kevin seems like 65-70% of his wins are stoppages, maybe even 75%. And now he's going up against a guy that doesn't get stopped. What is there a psychology to that? Like, obviously, like handicappers are going to notice that, but will a fighter look at that? Like, if you continue on and you get more and more stoppages, and then you're going up against a guy who's never been stopped, would you find that out? Would your coach mention that, or would you try not to think about that, or what would be a thought if that was the equation? You're stopping all kinds of guys. Now you're going up against a guy who's had a lot of fights and never been stopped.
I did do that. I did that when I fought Dusko. We were both undefeated. He was coming off a huge win off of Michel Pereira, yeah, I just thought, well, there can only be one of us that comes out of this, and I just knew I'd be. I don't know. I just knew I'd come out on top.
So it didn't. Were you planning to stop him, even though he was a guy that really hadn't been stopped, or did you just not really think about that?
No, for sure. I plan on stopping everybody. It's just a part of my style. It's a part of who I am. I want to finish you at all times of the fight.
I like it. And now we have another middleweight fight coming up this week. Oh, by the way, in that fight, do you have a prediction, or you feel like that one could really go either way? D-Rod against Kevin Holland.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a super tough one. I just think they're both gamers. I'm really, really excited to watch it. I like the both of them. I really enjoy watching them scrap. I don't know. I'm just gonna go enjoy it.
Absolutely. Now, this next one is coming up this Saturday, and these guys are both kind of a similar size and a similar size as you. as middleweights, Marvin Vettori and Robert Whittaker. I know you probably are excited about watching these guys and fighting one of these guys one day. I'm really excited about that. They're both right about your age. I think Vettori's like a year younger than you, and Whittaker's like a year or two older than you. So these are guys just like you in their prime. Give me your thoughts about that fight, and is there anything about that fight that you think you, as a high level middleweight, are going to look for, that you could tell maybe the fans that we should look for, that we might not be prepared or looking for?
I just think that's going to be a good fight as well. I think Whittaker's good at everything, but I think he's a really good counter fighter. And Marvin comes forward with a lot of pressure. But Marvin can do it all as well. He can wrestle, he can strike, he brings pressure, he has crazy cardio, good left hand. But I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards Marvin on this one. I think he can get it done.
Are you? And do you think, like, because I was comparing their skill sets, and they're kind of similar in a way. They both can throw some hands. I kind of give Whittaker a little bit of advantage in the kind of technical striking in his movement. But wrestling, even though Whittaker's done some wrestling, I think Vettori is a little bit of the better wrestler. Jiu-jitsu, it's kind of hard to say. They're both right around their prime. What is it that you think gives Vettori a little bit of an advantage in your mind?
I think he's a bit more durable. I can picture a few moments where Whittaker's on like shaky legs, and I don't think I've ever seen Vettori like hurt or anything.
Makes sense. It makes sense. I don't think there's going to be any bad blood. It's funny because Vettori's a tough guy. Over in Italy, a lot of these guys, like Hawaiians, get very passionate about fighting, and Vettori usually almost has bad blood against everyone. But Whittaker is such a nice guy, right? It seems like nobody really hates Robert Whittaker. He's just this friendly Australian, right? And the Australian people generally are kind of like fun-loving people, like, you know what I mean? They always kind of make people smile because their accent's kind of funny also. So I have a feeling Vettori's not going to have any bad blood with Whittaker, but it should be a really good fight for sure. I'm looking forward to it. And then one more to get your opinion of. They've got Nate Diaz going up against Khamzat, and to me this is a really kind of a weird, unusual fight because it's kind of short notice. Khamzat fought at middleweight for several fights, and also fights at welterweight. He's a big welterweight. Nate Diaz, you have fought at lightweight most of the time. Khamzat's right in his prime, I think right about your age. Nate Diaz is like 35 or 36. A lot of people are looking at this fight as just like an ugly fight, where Nate Diaz just comes in there and gets the brakes beaten off of him. And I would hate to see that. And some people are saying this is a fight that lets the fans know that the UFC is not very happy with Nate Diaz, because they're going to set him up in a fight like this. But what do you think, man? I guess if you're a pro fighter, you're a tough guy, and Nate Diaz, as his brother, they're tough guys. Is there something in this fight that we can look for that Nate Diaz can do, in your opinion?
Well, like how you said, they're throwing him to the
Wolves.
Yeah. Like, I think kind of just depends on your perspective. Like, maybe getting thrown to the Wolves, but what happens if you win? Then he gets all that power, So I guess it just depends on how you look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that sense.
I mean, the Diaz brothers are tough guys because it's a mental game, isn't it? A lot of fighting is being strong mentally. And I guess these Diaz brothers are just super, super strong. I guess anyone has a chance in a fight. And I guess the odds, like 8-1, does that make sense to you, that the odds are 8-1 favorite Khamzat, or does that seem like not right?
I mean, if you looked at like on paper maybe, but I don't know. To me, every fight is exactly that. Every fight is a fight, and I don't think as fighters you can go by records. As fighters, you gotta take each fight as a fight, and I don't know. I feel like you just gotta just. It doesn't matter if it's 8-1 or whatever. You just gotta go in there and like fight.
Absolutely. In the last 2 minutes we have you, Puna, tell us a little bit about your goals for your career here and your plans. Do you feel like you want to, you know, make money and start an organization? Do you want to like do something for the rest of your life in MMA? Do you want to have your own gym? What are some of the things that Punahele Soriano is working toward accomplishing in your goals in this career as a fighter and beyond?
I kind of just have like one main goal right now. It's just always just winning the next one. Always just winning the next one. Yeah, that's my goal. I'm just gonna keep doing my best to win the next one, and then I'm gonna keep winning the next one, and then next thing is gonna lead to the next thing, and I'm gonna keep winning the next one, and we're gonna see what happens from there. But in the future, I don't know. I'd like to just be able to have enough money to kind of just hang out for the rest of my life.
I like that, man. Well, you're an honest guy. You're a genuine guy. You got a great attitude, man. It'll take you far. Like I said, you're like a prototype of a fighter physically. I think you have the tools that it takes. You're at a great gym with Extreme Couture. You got that Hawaiian fighting spirit. You got the wrestling. I think great things are in store for you, brother. I really do. And we'll be cheering for you, man. I expect you're going to have a great win streak, and you're going to be smiling even bigger from all the success you have. What's the best place for people to support you on social media?
Typically it's my Instagram. I think it's just my name, Punahele Soriano. You'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Punahele Soriano. You're awesome.
Sure.
Keep on doing the great work you do, man. Look forward to great things from you in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me.
You're very welcome.
Have a good.
You too. Have a great
Take
night.
care.
See you. Bye-bye. And that was Punahele Soriano, or Puna Soriano. Good guy. Man of few words, but you know what I mean? He's genuine. He's an easygoing guy, and you know, he's not dishonest. He basically is in this right now, obviously fully with the goal at 29 years old to keep winning. And it makes sense. If all of us at 29 knew exactly what we wanted to do when we're 39 or 49, it would be a bizarro world, because that's not really the case. Some people maybe do, but most don't. And I like that he was honest that as of right now, his goal is to keep on winning and doing well. And I guess if that happens, then everything that he wants to kind of do should materialize from that success, right?
Right.
You know, and but yeah, good guy, and that was true. I'm not sure if you were with me at that event, but yeah, he really looks like a fighter. Solid, you know, square jaw, head shape.
I was there at that one.
Yeah. He really is like a prototype of a guy that can handle punishment. And as a wrestler, he's got that strength and that strong physical conditioning. So yeah, he's young in this game at 29, and he's already got like 6-7 UFC fights. So I think we'll be seeing more success from him for sure.
100%. 100%. So we do have somebody that hopped in on Facebook. I can't even see how many viewers we have over there on Facebook or any of the other platforms right now. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, let's see what we have. I like it. So hopefully that's, you know, like easy bugs on nothing to be happy.
Eat the bugs, own nothing, and be happy. That's not bad advice. That's going off of what we were talking about earlier. But I would rather have all the money in the world. Sorry. I'm greedy.
Exactly.
Greed is good.
Exactly. But yeah, good guy. So we're 5 minutes away from our next guest. So yeah, he had some good thought. So he's got Vettori. He picked Vettori over Whittaker. He felt he's a little bit more durable. And that is interesting, because I'll tell you what, if you look at it, Whittaker did get stopped by Izzy a few years back, and Vettori just never really seems to get hurt in a fight. And you know, even though if you take out that one fight, the Whittaker's had a great record when he was at welterweight, really killing himself to cut weight. I think he had a loss or two. I knew he lost to Wonder Boy, but he's pretty durable as well. We'll see. I'm still on the side of Whittaker. But the fight with Vettori, that's a really important big fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Puna is gaining on these guys, and you know I think that Izzy is kind of Izzy and this guy Pereira, the kickboxer from Brazil that Izzy is going to fight next, the guy who knocked him out twice in kickboxing, are kind of anomalies. They're both being about 6'4" middleweights, and I think Izzy, it probably cuts 20 pounds, and this guy Pereira looks like he cuts like 30 pounds. But I think that a lot of the, I guess they're also Anderson Silva was a little bit tall and lean, but I think a lot of the middleweights that are doing good are like the size of Whittaker, Vettori, and Punahele Soriano, like right about 6 feet even, and cut a little bit of weight, and just are physical, really strong individuals, physical specimens who can grapple and have grappled and wrestled for years and are just really good athletes. You know what I mean? So,
right.
And he looks like a healthy guy. He broke his hand, he said, in the last punch of his last fight when he was finishing Dolce Lungiambula, which is unfortunate, but he's healing, and I guess he's 8 weeks in, and yeah, he looks like a guy who is, like I said, really strong guy, really durable guy. And I think we'll be seeing him hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months. But anyway, so you want to see if Chris is ready?
He looks like he is. He's online.
Well, let's do it. It's only 2 or 3 minutes early.
And before we do that, make sure to hit up the Hannibal TV if you're on our Facebook, and that's over on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to hit up our Facebook, our Instagram, everywhere. Just hit us up. Give us likes, shares. We'll get stuff going a lot more frequently with all the content in the world, but we just need all you guys engaging, whether it's
Absolutely.
a bunch of stuff or not. But we do have a Facebook group where you can fully share whatever news you want over there. We just ask that you don't throw out some generic post. If you do that, I will actually suspend you or eventually ban you.
Yes.
Just because we don't like to have the annoying generic stuff. We like people actually striving to be good journalists in this space, whether you are covering just for fun or you want to be a pro. Just
Exactly.
act professional.
Yeah, what's the post that we don't want to see that says, I thought this group might enjoy?
Yeah, that one. So I thought the group would enjoy. And literally seeing that over and over again, you do that, I'm literally just going to ban you straight away from the group.
Because that's just a default. That's like a default share to group thing.
To multiple groups, and they'll do it to 100 groups. And we've shared groups, but the idea was to actually let people know, hey guys, we got a unique show every single week.
Right.
Come join us, have fun.
Exactly.
And
you have to make the effort to do that.
And yeah, we like to have fun here. If we're making you sleep, that's because you're not engaging. If you engage with us and have fun and have a good time, we're gonna have a blast together. We're gonna be able to get in better guests every week, and no offense to any of the guests we've had so many amazing guests, and some where you can't get better than the belated amazing judo Gene LaBelle, and the likes of
Neil Dariush we had recently,
Bisbing.
and Bisbing, yes, he took his eye out on our show because he said I was that good of an interviewer,
of which Bisbing and footage from his documentary, I guess UFC is actually suing the production team. Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
Kind of crazy, but what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel that the fighters out there should have a right to utilize footage of themselves, or are you one of the people that feels that, hey, they signed the dotted line when they signed up for it, and they signed that footage to UFC?
And I know we're supposed to be on with Chris in 1 minute, so I don't want to keep him waiting. So I'll just say quickly, I feel like they should have a right to their own image and likeness. If that's not in their contract that they sign, then that could be a problem, because I can't argue that someone should just by default have this right, and you can't sign a contract agreeing against that, because if you do, what you sign a contract for essentially is, unless they can say it's an illegal contract. But just as far as what I would like it that the UFC would not say that now that you fight for us, you have no rights to your own image, because in all honesty, a lot of fighters, especially coming up, are not making a lot of money, and even when you leave, you could probably use the money to be able to merchandise your image. And
right.
I just, but I guess if you leave and you're still connected, I don't know how it works, but I would like to see that the fighters would absolutely be able to use their own image the entire time they're in the UFC
100%.
or wherever else. Yeah.
100%. I feel they should be able to use their image, but at the same time, you sign that contract. All right, Colin, let's go into that last
Skype
guest
dance,
here.
baby. See if we heard anything.
Skype dance, baby. Skype dance, baby. There he is.
Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Let's see if you can get that video. There we go. We got you there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy to have this next guest back on the show. This gentleman has been one of our favorite fighters since 2017 when we first started the show, early 2017, and training over there out of Jackson Wink, having trained many years with John Jones, any other talented people, Holly Holm, all kinds of great people. The man is fighting in the main event for LFA on September 9th. The man they call Breezy and the Future, and I'd like to say it's because he's going to breeze right into the future. Mr. Chris Brown, welcome back to the show, Chris. Good to see you. Now, all of a sudden, we're not hearing any audio. Can you say something again?
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we got you. Good. Excellent, man. I appreciate having you back, man. I really do, man. And it's always great to talk with you. And I'm telling you, man, I was just talking to Adam, and I was saying, man, Chris is a great fighter, and I have a feeling that you, Chris, one of the reasons why we like you so much, you're connected to our show, is it seems like you have the same sort of luck that we have, which is everything you get, you earn. It's like no one's really giving you out big breaks from not earning them, man. And sometimes I get frustrated. Like, I'm grateful for all the things that I've had in life, but I also used to look at my brother, my cousins, some people that would just luck into this and that. And I'm like, damn, man, like, I wish, maybe in my next life I was this guy who just stumbled into some dumb luck where I get a break or something. But, I think maybe it builds character and people respect that about you. And, you become someone who pays your dues to get where you're going. And, and so you've been continuing to grind and do good things. And here we go with another good fight on that grind. And I really do believe that after this fight, something big is going to happen for you. And I can't, is there anything in the works? You probably can't give away too much, and if you don't want to jinx anything, I understand. But man, you're going up against this undefeated guy from the Eastern Bloc, Bosnia Herzegovina, and I just got a feeling you're going to school this guy. And then I just hope and believe that finally someone is going to realize in the big leagues, and you were already there in PFL, but I'd love to see you in the UFC, man. And I was just actually talking to Adam off the air, and I'll say this on the air. I wish if we could roll back the clock 7 or 8 years, maybe John Jones could finally have them give you a break. But right now, John Jones and Dana get along as good as probably a cat and a dog who both have rabies, which is not too good. So I was saying, you almost think if John Jones asked Dana to give you a contract, Dana probably on purpose would not give you a contract because of how much him and John are not getting along, right? So once again, right, right, exactly, right. So once again, you're going to earn what you got. But do you have thoughts on that? Because every organization out there is good. LFA is good, but then I know that you got, probably you may want to jump to either UFC or One Championship, Bellator, or back to PFL. What would be your choice? Not trying to get you ahead of this, and I know you're not overlooking your opponent, but if you personally had to choose what your next stop would be after a victory on the 9th, which of those aforementioned 4 organizations would you like to go?
I definitely want to be in the UFC. I think it's a long time coming. Before my PFL fight, I actually got an offer from the UFC, but for whatever reason, Sean Shelby was confused, and he offered me a 145 fight.
Oh, that's 2 divisions below you. Oh,
yeah. So we're like, what?
No.
Like, yeah, I was like, 45, and they were like, they would give me a short notice fight at 85 if someone got hurt. but
no.
you know, that's an unknown. I didn't want to sit around and wait,
Right.
and see if someone gets hurt or something like that.
Yeah. And that PFL fight was very, very close. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? Like, in all honesty, man, I just, you know, like I could see, you know, you clearly winning both the split decisions that went against you over the years. I'm sure you could too. I guess you can't stress about it. I'm not trying to put a bad taste in your mouth on that, because I'm sure you already are focusing on going forward. But man, you're earning everything, and I'm just like, they got to start getting some judges that actually like Chris Brown, and get rid of these judges that somehow don't like, because I don't know what's not to like.
They don't like my style, I guess.
I don't know
they want me to walk forward and get punched in the face. They don't like me being dynamic and doing all the craziness that I do. Like last fight against Liao, everybody there was like, what is going on? Wiz Khalifa, Ray Lewis, Tyrone Woodley all had me winning the fight.
Yeah, me too.
Even watching it back, that's all they were raving about is the stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
And all they could say was he was walking forward. I outstriked him and I out-grappled him, so I don't understand.
Yeah, it really does make you wonder. I mean,
the judge who voted for me, he came to the back after I fought, because I was, you know, I went on a rampage and cussed everybody out and went to the back, you know, and then everyone started trickling in and shaking my head. Like Kenny Florian came back and shook my head and said it was bullshit. The judge came in the back and shook my head. And he's like, man, you did great out there. He's like, those other two judges are boxing good judges. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem we have. Like, these people are judging MMA like it's boxing. It's not.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And it's like, this is one thing I can say, and I'm an older guy. Once in a while, when I hear some of these judges announced, and I remember that these judges were judging when I was 15 years old, like, something's wrong with that, because I don't throw out my exact age, but I'm not young in anyone's book. And if this guy is still judging, and he was judging when I was 15 years old, this guy's right, he's got to be like 80 or older than that. And I don't know. I mean, the only one I knew that was in their 80s that knew very much a lot about MMA was my late friend Judo Gene LaBelle. And he knew a lot about MMA. He was in an MMA fight in 1963. He was probably the first mixed martial artist in this country, growing up learning boxing, catch wrestling, judo world champion, you know, you know what I mean? But other than that, a lot of these guys that were not professional athletes that have been judging in boxing for 45 and 50 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Never even done a round in the gym.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody tell me if they know what they're talking about.
Right. It's crazy, but I gotta believe that they should make an effort to have some good judges in this fight, and I'm sure they will, because I don't think Ed Suarez wants any crap going on, and you really deserve it. So I just think, you know, this is gonna be
get a lot of love. So, but you know, gotta be careful. I'm fighting in Colorado. He lives out there in Colorado, so.
That's the guy from Bosnia-Herzegovina is over there in Colorado.
Yeah, he trained somewhere. I think somewhere they said Edgewood, Colorado, or something like that.
Interesting. Now you're in New Mexico, right next door, but you're. Forgive me if I'm incorrect, but weren't you from originally somewhere else, like Texas or not? Houston. That's what I thought. So most of your people are over there in Houston, or do you have any relatives in New Mexico, or not really?
No, it's just me. My mom came and stayed out here for a few months.
Right.
But she went back to Houston.
Right.
It's just me out here, no family, but
you got
they
friends.
come to visit. I get, like, my best friend comes to visit me all the time. And
okay. And then you got, I'm sure, a lot of friends at Jackson Wink, but even going from New Mexico to Colorado costs some money. Not everyone can just go and do that and then buy a ticket also. But I gotta believe still, though, you're gonna have some fans that are gonna be over there in Colorado, right?
Oh yeah, I got some people that are coming up for sure. I got a good little amount of people. not probably not a huge number, but it is what it is. I don't really worry about having a bunch of people there. 'Cause,
Right.
I'm used to flying all across the country and fighting. So
Absolutely. And the
it doesn't.
sorry to interrupt you. Absolutely. And
Yeah, I said so. That stuff doesn't really bother me at all.
no, totally. And the main event in LFA, is that 5 or 3 rounds?
Pretty sure it's 3 rounds. I don't think they're making it a 5 round.
Okay, because are they doing even title fights 5? Title fights they're doing 5.
Yeah, their title fights are 5.
Okay, because in the
So,
U.S.
yeah, and I've done this will be my second main event for them in a row.
And was the other one a 5 or a 3?
It was 3.
Okay, good. So that's got to be 3.
Yeah, because I headlined in Dallas in January, I think.
Okay, so that makes sense. And I think you're right. I think if it's not a title fight over there, they're making it 3. Whereas, as you know, in the UFC, if it's a main event, it's 5. But
Yeah, I like that. I like that though.
yeah, without a doubt. No, that but yeah, man. So just I know you're gonna go in there with your regular good attitude, and like, let me ask you this: you know what you're doing. You're still young, but you're also a veteran of the sport, having had a good amount of fights. Do you have friends like Holly or John Jones, or people still give you some advice to just give you a positive word, or are you already beyond that where like you don't need anyone giving you any positive advice, or how does that work?
No, they always still give me good advice. I was talking to Michelle earlier.
Yes, Michelle Waters.
Me and Michelle had a good talk earlier, just about me cutting weight and the grind and what she's about to get back into the grind. And me and Holly always have talks, so it's always great to talk to her and get her view on things. And she's always has great advice for me. And even John, when I run into him, he usually has good advice for me too, just things to learn from them. And I've spent so much time from them. It's good that I can still learn things from them.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. Like Bruce Lee said, you want to have you want to have your cup empty, being so that when knowledge can come, you can take it in. Whether if your cup is completely full, then anything just someone pours in just goes right in one ear and out the other. So it's good that you're still open to hearing that insight, So yeah, I just I feel really good about this fight coming up, man. And
yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is
a great matchup.
Absolutely, and so you're still in the thick of the weight cut, and you're usually being able to do that pretty well. I know you were at 55 for a while, killing yourself, but at 170, I think you still cut a little bit, but I think it's not a huge amount. You don't have to give numbers if you don't want to, but like I don't think you have too much of a problem with the 170 cut, or can it be sometimes difficult?
Okay. I was having some issues at first because I let myself get a little too big. I was walking around at 215.
Oh wow!
Between camps, and I was like, well, I can't be. And then I was cutting from 215 to 170, so I was like, this defeats the purpose of going up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this camp, I didn't even let myself go past 195.
Nice.
So I'm good. I'm chilling. Only probably around like 15 pounds away. So a week out. So that's a lot lower than I've been in a long time.
Excellent.
So and I've had to make the cut. I've showed up at 188 when I fought in Oklahoma. I showed up like 187 when I got off the plane because the water retention and everything. I had drank a gallon of water before we got on the flights, and I was 187 when I got off the plane, and I cut all of that weight in one night. So I know I can cut hard, so it'll be easy cut this time because I didn't have to lose 20-30 pounds before I even got to 200.
Fantastic. And as far as altitude, is Albuquerque a similar altitude to where you're fighting in Colorado?
I think Vail is higher because it's higher than Denver because it's a ski resort town.
Mm-hmm.
So the elevation is going to be higher than it is here.
Not maybe dramatically though, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a huge difference.
Very cool. And because you're used to training in New Mexico, so you got that, so it's going to be good. So do you have any people that are, I know that Holly's always there, and I know when you see John, and you know, but is there anybody, or is it a secret that might be helping you for this camp? I mean, whatever you want to throw out there, you don't have to throw out too much.
No secrets. You know, I train with you know, the usual suspects that we have over here. We got you know, our Bellator guys, Davion and Christian, Dontel Mays. He's a heavyweight for the UFC. Aaron Pico.
Yes, yes.
Got around Aaron Pico this morning. Had some fun with him. Steve Garcia. You know, he's in the UFC. So I got a lot of training with a lot of people. I actually got to train with Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson came in a couple weeks ago.
Nice. What was that like?
So, it was cool. Tony's a cool guy. You know, he's out there.
Definitely. He's a character, isn't he?
But he's awesome. He's a family man. Got to meet his wife and kids. He's awesome. So I got to spar a couple rounds with him and enjoyed myself. So I think that was a good, you know, feather in my cap.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your opponent. I wonder if my producer, Dr. Adam Roorda, if you can bring up Chris's file, then you can triangulate by just clicking on the opponent there. There we go. So Harris, it's funny, I never heard of Harris spelled with just one R. So, right? So
well, he's foreign, so that's
right.
different.
That's got Viet. So I don't know if it's Harris or Harris or whatever it is. Tulunzik, the silverback, and he's got only 5 pro fights, but he's got some amateur fights. I think he has 10 amateur fights or something like that. But in his 5 pro fights, if I can look at them, Dr. Adam Roorda, if we can go down a little bit, he's coming off a decision in June of this year. Against an opponent from China. Then he had 2 submissions before that, and then 2 decisions before that. So he's 5-0 with 2 subs and 3 decisions. Fighting a lot of guys that are, I guess, pretty tough, but not necessarily world beaters. But he's doing his thing over there. What do you think about this guy? I mean, like I think. People, sorry not to give you a chance, and this is one thing I want to make sure that I give you a chance to talk more than me, but I'll just say real quick, everyone tries to lump a lot of these guys from that area in with Khabib and Islam, and they're not all Khabib and Islam. This guy is not. No.
Wrestling nowhere near that.
Right. So yeah, this guy's not from Dagestan. He's not from Kyrgyzstan. He's not from Kazakhstan. He's not from any of those places, Bosnia and Herzegovina. I mean, but yeah, tell us, what do you think about this guy and what he's bringing to the show here?
I think he's young. He's on his grind. His opponents, he hasn't really fought anybody. I know I've seen him say that about one of his last opponents, but he hasn't fought anybody good. Maybe people too with a winning record or something like that. But yeah, these guys, and then I don't think he fought anybody over 6 fights. I've been, fighting killers.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So, I definitely don't think he's on the level of Liao. His pressure is definitely like that. And, Liao was on a 10-11 fight win streak himself, but, against real competition. I should have won that fight. Even Liao, after the fight, came up to me like he didn't know what to do with me, and he was surprised that I hit so hard, and he was just giving me a lot of praise in the back as he didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it makes sense because you won that fight, really.
Yeah. So, and this guy, he's a southpaw. Not a real crazy striker. He strikes a little bit, but compared to the level that I am and that people that I fought, he's not on that level.
No, right. And you're so much more experienced than him.
Exactly. So he's gonna see that there's definitely a different level, especially me individually, because no one fights like I do, and you can't replicate the things that I do because you never know what I'm going to throw, because I never know what I'm going to throw.
Yeah, I love that.
It's time to throw it. So what the funky things that I do, and I'm used to fighting southpaws because Holly's a southpaw, Steve's a southpaw, Bones is a southpaw. We got a lot of southpaws that I've been training with for years, so I'm used to little things that I know work against southpaws. Uh, so I'm excited to show my unique brand of striking, and he definitely, just like everybody else, he's not gonna know what's going on. You can't really guess or put a read on what I'm doing, because once they start thinking I'm doing something, they're gonna be getting hit with something else. So I just plan to overwhelm them. I'm going to be in great shape because I'm going to have an easy weight cut. My weight's super low already. So that's been a major issue with me, just cutting so much weight. So I took care of that. I've seen his grappling. Even his last fight, he had a few grappling exchanges with the guy, and the guy was rolling and reversing and kind of loose on his stuff. It's definitely not Khabib.
No, without a doubt. Yeah, like you said, yeah. And you're training with great people. Like Aaron Pico is amazing, definitely prolific. Yeah, wrestler.
So I know he's not shooting. He ain't got better shots than Pico. So.
No, for sure not, man, for sure. Yeah, I mean, when you go into a fight like this, and this is something I don't know if I've ever asked a fighter, but like, when you go into a fight like this, where you have a guy that isn't as experienced as you, and even though he's winning, it's only 5 pro fights against guys that no one's heard of. The average guy might say to himself, man, if I'm a pro fighter, I'm going in against this guy, man, I'm just going to go in there like thinking, this guy's nobody, man, I'm just going to go in there and wipe the floor with this guy. Like, I don't even have to worry about even having my hands up or anything. But I mean, obviously as a pro, you can't go in there with that mindset. But
yeah, you gotta respect everybody. Everybody's a warrior, and this is a crazy sport where anything can happen. You just saw Usman and Edwards.
Yes.
Anything can happen at a drop of a dime in this game. So you can never be like, oh, I'm gonna do this. You would love for things to go a certain way, but you never know what's gonna happen or what could happen.
Right. And as a veteran fighter, as you are, but like I said, still young. I'm not trying to make you old because you're not. But
I'm a vet in the game. I got over 10 fights. I'm a vet.
There you go. Exactly. What would you say you've learned in these 10 fights, different to when? Because we first talked, you had just. I don't think you had your first pro fight. I think we talked.
No,
you were the king of the cage, amateur. Yep, amateur welterweight champion. What would you say you've learned about your mindset going into the fight right when the bell rings in the first round? That's say different than before your first pro fight, or like your first or second pro fight.
I'm way calmer. I used to be like just so anxious, and like I'd be trying to rush things,
right?
And just like trying to like do too much, or trying to like set things up, and you like go in thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go and knock them out in the first round,
right?
So having it's good to want to do these things, but realistic in a fight, a guy had been training the whole fight camp. They're not trying to get knocked out. Nobody wants to get knocked out on TV.
Right.
This is, a lot of people are watching these, fight pass. Nobody, wants to get embarrassed. So you always got to take that in there in the ring with you. So I always just stop rushing myself. Like things are going to open up. It'll open up. Just keep busy, keeping them thinking, not letting them know what you got going on, and just trying to overwhelm them mentally, just because I'm going to the head, I'm going to the body, I'm going to the leg. It's constantly changing it up, so it gives them too much to think about.
Absolutely. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Be me and Wink.
Nice. So you said it's going to be Coach Wink, and then who else?
I think one of my teammates, I'll have him in my corner.
No problem. We're going to have Coach Wink. That's awesome.
Yeah, me and
Now, what are you saying? The real Wink, you're saying?
Yeah, I said my boy Wink. Yes, that's my road dog. We always hit the road.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. It's going to be great. Can't wait to see that. Well, we got maybe like 7 more minutes with you. I'd love to get your opinion on some upcoming fights, as always. All right, so past fights, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but Demetrius Johnson coming back over Adriano Moraes.
Beautiful.
Was that sick? Man.
Oh, that was so beautiful. I couldn't believe it. Just a mastery that he hit it, and then the follow that he had for the knee, and then just place it perfectly.
Yep.
Beautiful work.
Do you think that loss had been just kind of festering in him? That man, right? That this man made me look foolish.
No, it wasn't sitting well.
Right.
It was not sitting well with him.
Right.
He came out there with that fire.
Yeah, you could tell, and I'm so glad because he's a really good dude. He's a really chill guy. I got to interview him once live in person at a one championship open workout like 3 years ago. He's such a cool dude. Like, he's a guy like yourself. No one has bad things to say about him.
Yeah, and for him to have fought on as high level as he has for so long, I think that loss relit that fire in him.
Yeah. It really did. He wanted that one back, and then we know it was exciting with Usman and Leon Edwards. I don't want to go too much into the next. I want to get your opinion on upcoming stuff, but yeah, I just think that that you know, and everyone can criticize. Like, I'm never known as a media guy who starts criticizing. Like, I have the utmost respect for you guys. I think you know that about me, and so I like Kamaru Usman. I've always talked to him and had a great back and forth with him after fights. He's an amazing fighter. Anyone can get caught. We know that.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could
put off the gas.
Exactly. The only thing I could think of is that I think he felt so comfortable on the feet. He felt so comfortable with the fact that he had made Leon tentative because of the fact that he was getting the takedowns, aside from that first one that went against him. But I kind of feel almost like Usman was standing there saying, I'm good with this man at whatever distance, because he's going to be afraid to throw, because I'm just going to take him down, and I'm just kind of good wherever we stand. Meanwhile, we have the other man who was a better striker, who basically was looking down that sniper gun, that, you know, and was like, all I got to do, man, if this man is going to stand at my distance, then I'm just going to knock his head off. And he just pulled the trigger right at the right time. So no disrespect to Usman, good on Leon. I think maybe in the next fight, Usman may be a little bit more mindful of the fact, right?
I don't think he's going to let off the gas on that rematch.
No.
I think he was giving him too much breathing room.
Right.
He was dominating the fight. He kind of was just, you know, feeling himself a little bit.
Yep.
And was just hanging out in range, and that's what you can't do. You can't just hang out in range.
No, the other one.
He should have just put it on him, got him on the ground, and finished, or just rode him out, finished the fight.
Right.
Not give him the chance to get knocked out. So I think his whole game plan is going to change for next fight. I think he's gonna do a lot more grappling. Exactly.
So let's jump on to some other quick fights real quick. We got 5 minutes left. Give me like maybe 30 seconds or so on each fight, or 45 seconds. Main event in this Saturday's UFC: Marvin Vettori, Robert Whittaker, one division above you. What do you think, real quick, 30, 45 seconds?
I like Whittaker.
Yeah.
I've been a fan. I've been a big fan of him for a while. I think he's versatile enough to beat Marvin, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I like Whittaker too. It's going to be a good fight, but you know, I think Whittaker is a great fight. I actually thought, I'm going to say it here and I'll reiterate, I thought Whittaker beat Izzy, and I was just looking on SureDog. Two judges out of 3 had Whittaker beating Izzy. I don't know. What do you think?
When I watched the fight, I was just like, man, I thought he won because Adesanya wasn't doing nothing.
Right. You know, but you know, all respect to Izzy, and you know,
the champ. But they say you got to beat the champ. So
right, that's what they always say.
I was like,
yep.
Yeah, I could understand that why they gave him. And personally, I thought Whittaker had done enough to edge it.
Yeah, me too. Is what it is. All right, Nate Diaz and Hamzat. Like, let me ask you this, right? Like, people are kind of shaking their heads. Well, here's the thing. This is one thing we know, if you have Khamzat against an MMA media guy or someone that does security at MMA events, then you're really talking about a mismatch because you have a non-fighter against a tough fighter. A lot of people don't realize the Diaz brothers may look kind of like skinny older guys, but these guys are rugged professional fighters for many years. So it isn't just as if Khamzat can put his hands down behind him and stick his tongue out. You know, Nate Diaz isn't someone that you just beat up like they're a redheaded stepchild. But other than that, it's sometimes right. I mean, what do you think?
Look what Masvidal did to Diaz.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Chimaev is gonna beat the brakes off of him.
Yeah. What can Diaz? I mean, here's a weird thing. If we put you in Diaz's corner, what can you tell him? I mean, is telling him even gonna do anything? I mean,
yeah, because in the stand-up striking, I don't think he's good. He hits hard enough.
Right.
Especially this, they're fighting at 170. I don't think the Diaz has the power for it.
No,
unless you know, just like how everyone brings up how he rocked
Leon.
Right. But you know, Leon took his foot off the gas.
Right, and it was the fifth round of a 5-round fight. Yeah.
And Diaz was getting, you know, beat up in that fight.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's the same thing because he's on the decline.
Yeah. You know, and also he's a smaller, older 170 against a huge young 170.
He shouldn't be fighting at 70.
No, 55 was always where he was at, and he's going up against a guy who technically could really do well at 85.
Him and Connor had that fight and swear they're 70-pounders now. So
right, you know. But I mean, Diaz is good off his back with his jiu-jitsu. Do you think?
When's the last time he tapped somebody out?
That's true. That's a while ago. What do you think? Excuse me. So sorry about that. Chris, excuse me. To our team here. Rest assured, I'm in perfect health. Anyway, do you think that Khamzat is gonna be like willing to kind of do what Amanda Nunes did? If you look back at that Nunes and Pena fight, one thing I noticed in that fight was Nunes could have kept that fight on the feet and knocked this girl out. But what I could clearly see in that fight was all the months or year or whatever
point that she can grapple her.
Right. She basically had been hearing for years, this girl's too good for you. This girl beat you because she's a better grappler. She's got a better chin. She's this. And it looks like Amanda wanted to prove that she was better in every aspect than this girl.
You know how they were saying, but she had COVID and they all this up to the fight, because it was weird how she just went out like that. She just gave up after the first round.
Right.
And so she wanted to prove that it was all a fluke, and that she can go on the ground with her and she's not worried about it, and she can outstrike her.
Exactly. Now, is there any chance that Khamzat is going to say, you know what? They say that the only chance that Diaz has here is if we just grapple. If I don't try to bust him up or ground and pound him, but if I just like sit right in Nate Diaz's guard.
I'm sure he will pick him up and slam him, because he's gonna be way stronger than Diaz.
Will he be willing to sit in Diaz's guard though, just to kind of like show people?
Well, because I think he'll definitely take the fight to the ground too if he has opportunity, because I don't think he's really scared of Nate's ground game. Like, Nate gets to the ground, but when's the last time he submitted somebody? And you could go back to when he was fighting Vincent Henderson. Vincent manhandled him on the ground.
Right, that's true. Now, do you think that the trash talk or Stockton slap is going to work for a guy from Russia via Sweden?
He gonna be talking shit. He gonna be talking shit too.
That's true, right? Yeah, because that guy does have some shit talking.
He likes to talk too, so I think we're gonna get a good back and forth between them. But I just think Diaz he's so easy to bleed. Is gonna be And Jorge they stopped the fight with Jorge, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Just he's got his face smashed in, and that's something that we could see. Almost like the referee might need to be kind of prepared to stop this fight because there's a lot of scar tissue on the Diaz brothers.
Diaz, you always have to say, well, he's gonna bleed because of that soft tissue, but it's how much are you gonna let this man bleed?
Right, exactly. That's it. Quick question, real quick. I saw someone put up a poster that said UFC 280 whatever, Stipe and John Jones. As far as you know, that isn't signed, or is it?
I know that's what they were in talks to have, but like in November or something like that,
or December or something. Yeah, I think I
December.
saw. Yeah,
because I figured that they would do it to end the year.
That would be good. If you had to guess, the exact weight that John Jones would come in at. And I don't know if that's you giving away anything he wouldn't want you to talk about, but if that's not the case, if you had to guess, if you don't mind, what weight would you guess John would come in at?
He's like 255 right now. So who knows? I don't know if he would want to cut a little bit or if he just going how big he is now. Because last time I talked to him, he said he was up to 255.
Nice. Awesome. Well, let us know the place that people can support you. If you got some merch, anything, let us know how we can support Chris Breezy in the future, Brown.
Just follow me on IG, Chris Breezy MMA. After this fight, I'm going to get some new merch stuff taken care of. So be on the lookout for that. But Chris Breezy MMA on IG, Snapchat, Facebook. Just let me know. Hit me up. I'm always down. I interact with everybody. And if y'all ever see me around, say what's up.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. And September 9th in the LFA, where's that going to be held?
September 9th, Vail, Colorado.
Vail, Colorado. You can get your skiing in, although it's probably not skiing season, and then watch an amazing fight. And the main event, Chris Brown, you're going to take it, man. I can feel it. I can't wait to see you get that W, man. I will be watching. I'm going to be jumping up and down as you smash the man from Europe and take that big victory.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Great talking to you as always, my friend.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye. That was Chris Brown. Always great to have him on. Absolutely. We got one hater putting Z, but he's also the same guy that put eating bugs.
He did that a long time ago.
There
so.
we go. If he fell asleep,
we're all good.
We're all good. But yeah, so absolutely appreciate all these guys. Don't know what happened to D-Rod, but I'll tell you what. I hope
he's okay.
I hope so too. I'm sure maybe just something came up, but I'll tell you what. Maybe we'll see.
I mean, he confirmed with you, and he's a good dude.
He is a good dude.
So I just hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, just something urgent had to come up. It would be interesting if we could confirm that Kevin Holland, who very well may be with us next week, and if we could get D-Rod on that same show. Remember how we did that, I think, for some Thai boxers like 4 years ago, and we put them in the same segment.
It was for Lion Fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for Lion Fight. If we could get them both on, is it possible we could get them in the...
no, we can't do that anymore.
Right.
Okay. I'm not set up for that. So.
Understood. That's right. Well, still, at least we could get them in different segments, possibly. Yeah. So we're going to try to do that, and we've got some other great fighters set for next week and some great famous people. So look forward to it. In order of appearance, even though D-Rod didn't make it, big respect and love to you. Our second guest, Punahele Soriano. Puna, thank you so much for showing up, making it for the first time in the MMA Power Hour. And Chris Brown, Breezy, and the future, our good friend, works for everything he gets. And this is going to be a big win that I think will get him into the UFC after this LFA win in the main event on September 9th. Thank you so much, Chris. Dr. Adam Roorda, I'll throw it to you real quick.
I'm out for the night. Love y'all. Check out Lith Token. It's lithtoken.io. That's LITH token.io. That is who's bringing us a show every week. That is, well, the blockchain architect.
Absolutely, man. It's the best. Lith Token. Don't miss the bus, man. You'll regret it if you do. Jump on board. Lith Token, and it's going. The train is going down the track, and it's coming in hot. Dr. Adam Roorda, thank you so much for all you do. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. I know that I maybe got a little bit thrown off in the Puna interview. There were a couple of things that I actually forgot about with the weigh-ins or got confused about and didn't remember. It's been hot out here in Los Angeles, so forgive me if there was a couple points where I actually, for the first time in years, couldn't figure out exactly what I was saying, but I think I did make the save. But anyway, it's live TV. We're just all about having fun here and providing as much information as we can. And yeah, I want to be polished and smooth but no one's perfect, and I think that it's rare that I get myself off track, but when I do, I always get back on that track. Thank you so much for our guests. Thank you, Dr. Adam Roorda, for everything you do. And ladies and gentlemen, go out and spread the love in a positive way. Be that guy, be that girl. Take good care of your pets. It's super hot. Make sure they have their cold water and fresh food and somewhere cool to sleep when it's so hot out. And take good care of them. The love you get back is back a million times. Be gentle, be kind, love yourself. You deserve it. For the entire team at the MMA Power Hour, I'm Colin.